In this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can capitalize on pound US dollar and gold trading this week in the forex market. Let's get straight into the analysis. All right, guys. So first of all, I'm going to start off with pound US dollar and then we'll move over to gold. So overall on pound US dollar, we are still technically bearish. You can see that we've had on the weekly time frame mitigation of this area, followed by a breaker structure here, and now most recently price has pulled back into this weekly level of supply, and we have shifted back over to the downside. This sort of structural shift came in when price broke this low. This was our daily change of character. So if we mark that on like so, and then ever since then, we've just been having these very impulsive moves down with not really any significant pullbacks. If we go to the 4 hour, you can see that we've just been having these sort of single candle pullbacks for the whole of last week. And price has just been moving down and not really giving us any entry opportunities. So this week, I'm going to be looking to get in on sells. I'm not really interested in the buys, given how bearish GU is at the moment. And as you guys can see, there is a lot of space for this to keep going down. In the current area where it is, it has no real reason to reverse. It hasn't taken enough liquidity yet. So that is sort of an extra confidence we can use to suggest that price is going to head further down. And at the moment, this is the Monday. So at the moment on Monday, I'm seeing two potential areas where we could see the sells. So the first one would be if price were to pull back all the way into this level of supply on the 4 hour time frame. I'm going to be treating this pullback as the most recent pullback of the trend, and all of these ones sort of like in this area between here and here. I'm not going to consider those as pullbacks simply because they're sort of more like single candle moves up, and this is sort of like the main structural point of the current trend. So between this low and this high is where I'm going to be considering the current trend leg. So this was the lower high, this is the lower low. So now we are anticipating price to pull back, form a lower high, and then continue over to the downside. So this would be my first level that I'd be looking at if price were to pull all the way back to this level, and we can sort of refine it to this hourly area just there. Second area that I'm going to be looking at is on Friday, we had a reaction from this area of hourly supply. As you guys can see, this was an imbalanced level of supply which swept liquidity to the left. Price came up and gave a very nice reaction from it. So if we're just looking at this hourly trend at the moment, we've had a higher high, a higher low, followed by a higher high. So in order to validate this level for sells, we need to see a break below this level. And if we see a break below this level, I'm going to be waiting for a pullback into this imbalanced level of hourly supply just here, which has some very nice inducement. The price is building below it just here. As you guys can see, we have some sort of like trend line highs or equal highs, whatever you want to call it. However, this level here only becomes valid if this structure here is taken out. So I'll be looking for something like this. If price can break and close below this level, I'll be waiting for a pullback into this level to sell back down to the previous low down here. The second scenario is that if price just decides to continue up, we can look for price to come into this higher level of supply for then sells down, something like this. And obviously this one here would be confirmation based. We don't just want to set a limit on that area. Either way though, GU is looking quite clean this week, and I'll be looking to capitalize on the sells back down to the previous low, and also to continue this further as well into previous lows at sort of this level. First of all, 1.18, and then even lower into this area of demand, and perhaps even also down to this previous low here as well. So yeah, that's my outlook on pound US dollar. If we go over to gold now. Gold, similar sort of situation. We are still very bearish, and so this week I'm mainly gonna be focusing on the sell side and not really interested in the buys. So if we just look into map out the current structure, we've had a sweep of this daily liquidity, followed by a break of structure. Price pulled back on the 4 hour time frame. If we have a look at that, price has pulled back into this sort of area of 4 hour supply, shifted back bearish in this internal trend. Last week we had these huge moves down with no major pullbacks like GU, and we actually took out the next daily low, which was here at 1885. So that's our new daily break of structure. And if we also go down to the 1 hour, we can see that we've had a further break just here after price swept this previous liquidity. As you can see, if we zoom in, we had a sweep of this wick followed by price absolutely melting over to the downside and also taking out this previous structure. So this becomes our lower high, this becomes the lower low. So what we can wait for now is for price to pull back into some sort of area for then continuation sells. And before I look at which levels we're going to be identifying for the sells, I want to mark on this level here, as this is a level where we could potentially see some reversals. As you can see, it's a clear daily demand area which took out this previous structure and created imbalance. And this is also significant because between where price is now and this level, it's just like an open imbalance range. So there's no reason for price to suddenly reverse to the upside from where it currently is, which means that we can capitalize on sells if it pulls back all the way back down to this 1820 level and maybe further, but at least to 1820. So as for levels where we can look to get in on the sells, we have obviously this level of supply, which took out the previous sellers with this wick. So we can look for a pullback into this level and then we can look to sell down, and this will be confirmation based. So we'll be looking for something like this, where price can come up, something like this. This should be a bit lower. So something like this where we come up, take out the internal structure, retrace into an area of supply, and then we can look to sell back down. If price breaks past this level, we can also look for a higher retracement into, we have this level of 4 hour supply as well. If we go on the 1 hour, you can see a sort of like this region, which swept liquidity to the left, was imbalanced. And it was never mitigated either. But personally, I wouldn't expect price to pull all the way back to this level without first coming to this daily area of demand. Then you may start to see some bigger pullbacks. However, for the time being, we're just going to be looking at this level and monitoring this one for sells. So yeah, that's my analysis for pound, US dollar and gold. Clearly looking for sells all throughout this week and potentially buys as well if we get to this previous level of demand. But hopefully you guys have a good start to Q4. And if you want to see any of my live updates on my analysis completely free, I'll leave a link to the Telegram in the description box below as well. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.